The orbital shuttle's docking clamps engaged with a metallic clunk that echoed faintly in my helmet. Through the visor, I saw the turquoise gas clouds of Lanera Base drifting beyond the transparent shield panels ahead. I exhaled, feeling my pulse in my ears, then released the latch on my glove compartment, retrieving the maintenance toolkit. My name is Darren Merrick, Chief Systems Technician for the Alliance Survey Corps, and I had volunteered for this mission to the remote planet Seraphis 9. It was supposed to be routine reconnaissance. But now, as I disembarked into the docking bay, the mission was clearly no longer simple. A soft hum of energy rippled through the base's air as I walked toward the inner bay. The corridors were dim, lit by luminescent strips embedded in the walls. Reports had come in of a mysterious alien vessel barnacled at the far end of the base, docked in the quarantine zone. I was to investigate its hull integrity. They said an alien woman was inside, possibly injured. I was uneasy. The Alliance's contact protocols forbade direct physical contact with unknown alien species, but medical logs indicated hers was a mild shock injury in her exosuit armor, and the mission commanders judged I was the best technical hand available. As I approached the quarantine hatch, a red lamp flashed overhead. Two stern-faced officers in biohazard suits stood guard. One of them, Commander Jealous, recognized me. "Technician Merrick, any unauthorized contact is prohibited," she said. "You proceed only with remote tools unless absolutely necessary." "I understand, Commander," I answered. "But if she's bleeding, or if there's a critical armor breach, my hands may be the fastest fix." She nodded. "We accept that risk. Proceed with extreme caution." The hatch hissed open. I stepped inside, sealing the door behind me. The corridor beyond was narrow, walls glowing faint green. At the end, hull plating gave way to translucent panes tinted smoky. Through them I saw a figure slumped against the wall, her frame encased in sleek iridescent armor that changed color with angles of light, from silver blue to violet to deep emerald. Alien, tall, sinuous. She looked humanoid but not quite. I approached, heart pounding. The armor bore fractures, a web of hairline fissures along her left forearm and chest panel. A thin trickle of pale fluid, luminescent, seeped from a seam. She sat with shoulders slumped, one hand limp at her side. Her helmet lay cracked beside her, a jagged fracture across the visor. Taking a breath, I knelt. "I'm coming in. I'll patch as best I can." I primed a portable field repair torch and a nanosealant injector. I extended a gloved hand toward the panel. That moment she stirred. Her eyes, bright opaline iridescent, flew open. Her lips moved faintly in a whisper, a language I could not parse. Then she froze. I hesitated mid-motion. For a second the entire room stilled. The shimmer of her exo-armor caught light. She seemed to shiver inside the plating. Her eyes locked with mine. And then, against all protocol, I slip one gloved finger to press a tiny fragment of shielding inward, closing a gap. At that instant she jolted. The armor beneath my touch trembled. I gasped. The world tilted. She whispered in my ear, yet as if simultaneously in her own throat. "Merrick." My name, spoken in alien cadence. My helmet systems registered her frequency. It passed through the visor's audio filter. Froze. Then the hatch behind me clanged. Commander Jealous's voice crackled in the comms. "Technician Merrick, do not make contact. Step away now." I ignored her. The alien woman, her skin slate gray beneath the plating, slid upright at once. Her entire suit glowed softly at joints. Her whisper repeated, "You must not let them know." Then she inhaled sharply, eyes darting sideways, and collapsed back. I rushed forward, applying the nano-sealant across the fissure. It hissed glowing orange-white for a moment, then sealed flush. The fluid leak stuttered and ceased. I pressed the repair torch to stabilize the plating. All the while, she lay motionless, breathing ragged. I tapped my comm. "Commander, the breach is contained. She's stable for now. I need extraction and medical support." "Stand by," came the response. But as I turned to retreat, her arm shot out, lightly gripping my wrist. The armor, cold and alive, exuded an electric hum into my glove. A wave of vertigo hit me. For a moment my vision spun. She whispered, just audible, "Do you hear them?" And blinked. "Hear who?" I said, mostly to buy time. She gasped. Her grip loosened, pulled free. Outside, the red light still blinked. Heard footsteps. I dragged her suit's control panel and rushed her into the staging zone. 2 guards flanked me. I watched their fingers twitch on their phaser sidearms. "Don't approach," I warned. "If you breach her suit, she will die." Commander Jealous arrived via sliding door, in full hazard gear. I looked at her. "She's alive. Don't make her worse." She studied me, calculating, then nodded curtly. Inside the quarantine treatment chamber, we placed her on a support cradle. The technicians administered sedatives remotely. I hovered by her side, scanning with diagnostic sensors. The armor's shell read, "Non-human alloy, adaptive molecular weave." The suit's internal environment was sustaining her metabolism, though her vital signs were weak. I glanced at her helmet, cracked so deeply it couldn't regenerate. I swallowed. The alien woman's hand twitched. I leaned forward. And that's when I heard it again. A whisper in my mind, clear, urgent. "Beware the watchers outside." My eyes widened. I recoiled. The walls glowed more faintly. Lines of circuitry in her armor glimmered, as though reacting to my confusion. She whispered almost deliriously, "They do not sleep." Then her chest panel snapped open slightly, and inside something flickered, like a tiny holoprojector or a living core. It pulsed faintly green. Instinct made me step forward and gently touch along the edge of the panel to stabilize it. The moment I touched it, she shivered violently again. She moaned and her eyes snapped open. "No," she gasped. They know." Then, with surprising strength, she pushed a button on her wrist. Instantly the room erupted in a strobing flare. Alarms, energy arcs, containment force fields clicked around us. The quarantine chamber's doors slammed shut. The technicians backed away. The alien woman writhed, struggling between sedation and motion. I called out, "What are you doing?" She gasped. "I release a signal. They follow it. I have no choice." And within seconds the door's windows blurred. Shadows lunged beyond the shields. Something was approaching. When the windows cleared, I saw silhouettes. Tall, spindly, insectal, with multi-jointed limbs and glowing ocular nodes. They stood in the corridor beyond, masked in partial cloaks of refractive camouflage. Their shapes swayed as though reading my pulse. The alien woman convulsed. The whole room trembled. The containment grid failed near one edge. Sparks flew. I grabbed her wrist, pressing down that same signal release button. But she resisted. Her whisper came again, urgent, tremulous. "Do not stop it." A crack of energy burst from the broken panel, a spectral wave that propagated outward through the walls and corridor. The insectal forms recoiled, shielding sensors, making guttural clicks. Then they advanced one by one. I shouted, "Everyone back! Seal the doors!" Engineers scuttled. The energy field grew stronger. The alien's armor glowed like a beacon. A ripple of force struck the chamber's shield. It bowed, flickered. Then, as the lead antagonist stepped forward, her eyes, locked to his form, shouted, "No!" She pushed her stabilization field outward. The armor's shell expanded momentarily like petals. A shimmer of waves radiated, knocking the intruders backward. The containment grid snapped back. And at that moment her voice, steady, rang. "They know your name, Merrick. They have tracked you across light years." Froze. "What?" I said, my heart jackhammering. She sat up more strongly now, her armor contracting. In the bright glow, I saw her lips part. "You are integral. You must not be captured." She gestured weakly to a compartment at her side. From inside she produced a small crystalline shard, a pyramid of opaline glass with living filaments within. She raised it to me. "Take it," she whispered. Before I could refuse, she peeled off a clasp in her armor and handed me the shard. The moment my fingers touched it, data flooded into me. A cascade of alien runes, star maps, warnings. I gasped, nearly losing grip. The shard glowed warm in my palm. One of the insectal intruders crashed a limb into the outer shield. A fissure cracked the reinforcement grid. The crowding tension snapped the security protocols. Field barriers dropped. Engineers stumbled backward. The alien woman raised her head, voice ringing. "Protect the shard. You must deliver it. They will kill to get it." I nodded, voice caught. The intruders advanced, bending toward the doorway. Their mandibles snapped in the dim glow. They carried weaponized tendrils, crackling with bioplasmic energy. I lifted my arm, holding the shard like a torch. "On me," I said to the technicians. "Activate the fallback stasis field." The engineers moved to panels. Jealous barked orders. The chamber glowed, a trembling lockdown. The doors locked. But the invaders tapped the shields with energy pulses. The door's inner face buckled. Cracks spread. One tendril burst through. I lunged, pushing the alien woman down, placing myself between her and the breach. A tendril struck my shoulder, lancing through my suit with searing light. Pain flared. Cried out. A hiss of air escaped, but I kept the shard aloft. The alien woman reached out, metallic nails clicking. She muttered incantations in her tongue. Her armor exuded a shimmering lattice. The tendril withdrew. Others backed off. Coughed, blood in my mask. The shard's data flickered. An image of her home planet, ravaged by these insectal watchers, called the car. She was fleeing them, trying to bring this weapon map to the Alliance. That was why she whispered so desperately, why she trembled. The Watchers had sensors far beyond normal systems. She suspected that my name Merrick was known to them, that our facilities were already compromised. She spoke again. "They intercept any signal you transmit. We must mask your identity, fragment the shard's signal." He nodded. "I can embed it in your suit's core drive. That isolates it. Then we send a decoy." She nodded, breathing hard. The chamber flickered now as more energy surged. A gap opened in the floor. The invaders began to spill in beneath the door. I leapt to the armor's core bay in her back. Using microdrills and overlays, I carved out a failsafe port. She hissed but remained stable. I inserted the shard into a receptor I built moments before. It clicked and locked with a soft hum. The data matrix dissolved into the suit systems, fragmented across quantum nodes. Now the suit glowed dim, no longer a beacon. A wave of relief passed over me. The invaders faltered, sensing the beacon had vanished. One advanced. The alien woman rose. Her eyes blazed. She unleashed a blast of plasma from her gauntlet. It struck the intruder, melting through exoskeleton. Stumbled and fell. Others retreated. The intrusion threat receded. The door's locks held. We were safe for now. I slumped beside her. My arm burned. My vision blurred. I slid the helmet over my head as fog drifted in. She leaned close. "You have done what no other could," she whispered fiercely. "But you are marked now. They will come for you." Her voice cracked. "This mission, my exile, depends on your survival." I nodded weakly. Through the door's windows I saw the car forms slink away into corridors. They would return, some higher authority. We had mere hours. Ending. For the rest of that long night, we fortified the chamber. Engineers erected reinforced barriers. Medical teams patched my wound. The alien woman, now somewhat stable, rested on the bio-cradle, monitors flickering. Later she awoke. The shard-restored suit glowed faintly. She looked at me, expression grave. "You saved me and yourself," she said, voice low. "I am Talith of the Serathii. My world was invaded by the Car centuries ago. They warp space anomalies, steal souls, harvest souls of advanced species to feed their expansions. I escaped as the last of my people. I brought relics. This shard is the memory core of our civilization. If it falls to them, they will consume all knowledge, all defenses. You must carry it to Alliance Command. You are now the guardian of Serathii by fate." I swallowed. "But they know me, they know my base, even my name now." She reached out, placing a slender hand on mine. Her armor shimmered. "Then you must vanish. Use the data in the shard. It contains cloaking, false identities, warp routes. You may evade them for a time. I will delay them here." "But I cannot leave you," I whispered. She shook her head gently. "I have stasis pods in the depths of your shuttle. I will go there. Sleep until you reach safety. You take the shard. You become my envoy." Before I could argue, alarms blared again. The car were returning in force. We shared a look of resolve. I gripped the shard in hand. She activated an escape protocol. With a trembling voice she whispered, "May your path be hidden from their eyes, Marek." The door burst open. The car swarmed. The facility's lights flickered. We were overwhelmed with energy arcs. I hauled her from the cradle, dragging her toward the side airlock. The corridor outside was a web of bodies and arcs. I fired my sidearm at the nearest car, forcing them back. We staggered into the airlock. I keyed the destination, our shuttle. The doors sealed behind us. The corridor alarms blared. The base shook under unseen blasts. The alien woman's breathing grew shallow. I hoisted her into a cryostasis pod on board the shuttle. It hissed shut, luminous tendrils binding her in a suspended cocoon. The shard's glow dimmed, safe, locked in the drive core. I launched the shuttle. As we pulled away from the base, I looked back at the dark lines of Lanera base receding. Explosions flickered across its hull. I closed my eyes momentarily, straining to sense whether she still lived. I felt a faint pulse through the ship's systems. Hours later, in the solitude of the passenger bay, I accessed hidden files in the shard's backup matrix. It gave me routes, hidden hyperspace channels, safe houses across star systems, star maps of Serathii, and above all, encoded instructions. How to summon potential allies, how to activate a galaxy-scale defense grid. And then I heard her whisper, through the ship's intercom, in that same haunting tone. "Do not trust the Watchers disguised as saviors. They rot from within." My spine chilled. The Watchers' car were master infiltrators. They must have agents inside the Alliance. My blood ran cold at the implication. I plotted our course toward the nearest Alliance command quadrant. I set the ship's identity cloaked. I masqueraded as a routine survey craft. But within me grew a fierce purpose. I must protect the Shard. I must protect her legacy. And I must root out the Watchers. Over the next days, as hyperspace folded around us, I monitored that stasis pod. Every few hours it flared with green life signs. I whispered to it, "Talith, I will deliver this. I will fight. I will not let them win." And in those dark hours of transit, I recalled that moment in the quarantine bay, when I touched her armor and she shivered, whispering my name. That moment bound us. From that fragile contact, a vast war had ignited. When we docked at Alliance Command, I prepared to present the Shard. But before stepping into the Grand Council chamber, I activated a failsafe, a holographic projection of a false Shard, a decoy with false coordinates. I carried the real one hidden in the ship's core. I stood before the Council. I told them of the Sarathii, the Car invaders, the Watchers. I made my plea. Many eyes shifted, some benevolent, some wary. Some council members looked at me strangely, as though judging whether I was genuine or compromised. One elder asked, "Why should we believe you, Technician Merrick, that your identity is not tainted by the Watchers?" I lifted a hand. Because when I touched her armor, she whispered more than my name. She whispered the truth of unseen enemies. The Shard in my ship carries evidence. Encrypted maps, concealed agents, warp coordinates, everything to expose them. But I cannot bring it here yet. There are spies among you. Let me embed the Shard in safe sanctum under shielded quarantine. Then I will present it. Until then, I am your guardian of Sarathii, a sentinel, a herald. Let me begin the purge. The council murmured. Some stood, some bowed. The elder nodded slowly. "Very well, Merrick. You may proceed under guard into the sanctum vault. But we will watch you." Bowed. My heart pounded. Outside, in corridors beyond, I felt the Watchers stir. But I carried the Shard. I carried her whisper. And I carried the burden of war. As I left that chamber, in my mind I heard her quiet voice, somewhere beyond stasis. "Go. Survive. Unmask them." I squared my shoulders and advanced down the corridor, stepping into a war that had already begun. All because in that moment I reached out and touched her armor, and she shivered, whispering something unexpected. My name and a warning. And so my journey continues. An ordinary technician turned sentinel between species, between shadows, between Watchers and the light. The Shards of Sarathii, the Watchers' hidden tendrils, the fate of countless worlds now rest in my hands.